Good morning, everyone. Welcome to meeting 35 for Ethereum Cat Herders. I have shared the agenda in the chat. So the first item on agenda is the email account for cat herders. Last week, we had some discussions related to that. Do people have updates on that? In this regard, I have created a document. I'm just sharing in the chat. It is like kind of a comparison between three email provider, Zoho, private email, and Proton Mail. According to my findings, Zoho provides free email for one domain, and it may have like up to 5 mailbox. It provides 5 GB per user free, and that is the minimum one provided by the Zoho. And the other one, MailLite, that has $1 per user per month, and that also provides kind of 5 GB per user. Private email, I remember the discussion of having a domain name by Namecheap. So private email is mostly related, linked to Namecheap. So I have shared the details for that as well. It's a starter is $11.88 per year for 5 GB email. And for Proton Mail, the minimum is €5 per month. That also provides 5 GB of email mailbox. So if you can go look into the table, that also includes the second level of email providers. What are the options for emails? And I have also added some reference link where we could find some comparison, which one is better, like Proton Mail or versus Zoho, and Zoho versus private mail. Another one came up as G Suite, but that is kind of little expensive than all three of the providers listed here. So, I would like to, welcome everybody to share their thoughts, what they think of, from which we should be going ahead with.
So it sounds like, well, we won't need more than 5 gigabytes, right? Does anyone think we'll need more than that?
I don't think so.
I think 5 GB can be good to start with. It's a good amount because I'm not expecting too much of, kind of bulky emails going on in and out at this point of time. So maybe it is good to start with, but in future, if we find it like we are getting it lesser, then we might want to upgrade.
Sounds good.
I tried to do, look into the free one for Zoho, but it requires phone number for, kind of registration. And my both account numbers are linked with my website email, so I could not create one. Anybody would like to volunteer to do that?
I wouldn't mind doing that.
That would be great. Thank you. First of all, do we want to go ahead with Zoho or William? I see your point, about the security and other things. Do you think Zoho should be something that we can go ahead with, or would you want to volunteer to take it for Proton Mail?
Wait, say that again. Yeah, I didn't understand that last statement.
So I was trying to check with William if he's fine with going with Zoho, or Zoho is the general consensus because it comes with free and 5 GB is the minimum, that is provided by all three providers at this point of time.
Do they all require a phone number?
Actually, I did not check for all of them. I tried to go by the minimum. So yeah.
But I guess if I provided my phone number, then if anyone wanted to, some other people may want to I guess that would mean I would have to manage the account if someone wanted to change or upgrade or something like that. I would have to do that because it would probably do a verification with an SMS to my number, right? So I would have to be involved in that, and I wouldn't mind that.
You might be able to add other people in though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can add more admins.
Going back to what you asked me though, Pooja, it's true that I mentioned the privacy features on Proton last time. That was really just to get a general opinion though. I think you're right that starting with the free option right now and then maybe ramping it up if we see that there is a distinct need for it is probably the best way to move forward. If that's like, if there's no major dissenting opinion to that.
I agree. So do people have different opinion that we should start with free, or maybe we should start with the paid subscription at this point of time? So I consider that we are kind of having a rough consensus around starting with the free option that is provided by Zoho. So Brent, that he has volunteered to take it up. Brent, I can help you with the link and everything else. Like, it is very, very small form. It just requires basic information. Your email address and a phone number would be required.
Okay.
And it would allow you to kind of create 5 mailboxes. We can start with 1 or 2, depending upon contact, hello, or whatever, and we can discuss further how many emails we might need for that.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. And thanks for your help.
No problem. Thanks for you, because I tried to do it, but I could not. I have 2 websites and both of my numbers are engaged, so I could not do that. So thank you so much for helping with that. Moving on to the next agenda item, it's onboarding new members. Lately, we have been receiving a few requests in the community channel as well as on Twitter, and people try to reach out here and there, they would want to support cat herders, and they are looking into what are the jobs available for us, what they can do, taking up the tasks and everything else. So I was wondering about should we create a kind of onboarding process for new members? Like, so far we haven't been getting in doing too much into it, but yes, if people think that this is the right time, because we are trying to get more and more participants, community participants in, so is it the right time to think about onboarding process? Do people have suggestions on that?
I think we should make it easy to start onboarding from just visiting our website.
Right. But I was thinking we might want to get some prior information of them, like onboarding is fine. We can refer it to them, but how would they connect with us? What are their, where do they want to get involved? And I was thinking about collecting some basic information about them.
Yeah, maybe we should have a spreadsheet somewhere that listed all the cat herders, all known people that are interested at all at being considered a cat herder. And then we could have all of our contact information and maybe have a column like, are you willing to take notes for XYZ meeting and stuff like that.
If we have a clear idea of what the different things people could be onboarded onto are, then I think that could also be integrated into the website. Think of it, one button for, are you interested in taking notes, which would put someone in charge, either with you, Pooja, or maybe you, Brent. Another, and if we can divide up what our roles are into basic categories, it should be fairly trivial to implement that onto the website, I would think. Not just that, but we'd have really the seriously relevant piece of information coming in, which is what people want to contribute. No?
I get your idea totally, and I agree to that. I just have shared a document in the chat. It kind of created a list of questions that we might want to ask with the people who are interested to join in. So if people can give it a look, it's basically basic information about name, contact info, a little bit about their experience, or maybe the involvement with the Ethereum community. And
I don't have access to that document. Should I request access? Or?
Yeah,
no.
likewise.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna share this form. It's right there. Is this form accessible?
I just refreshed and I still can't get to it. Oh, there, now I'm in now.
And I think that thing should be also accessible now, the onboarding form, both of them should be. So yeah, it
I
just,
mean,
yeah, please go ahead.
I'm not sure I'd make it this difficult. I don't think that this is necessarily a difficult onboarding process, but at the same time, I'm not sure, like, why do we need these metrics? Like, why do we need anything more than, like, you know, this person wants to help doing whatever? I mean, which is basically the second to last question.
Yeah, actually you're right. Like we might want to have basic information about like where they are interested to contribute into, like, right, the last two questions are there. But I was just wondering, like, if we want to have kind of some kind of filter that we are not getting people, we are not allowing people directly to get into, you know, kind of create a mess in the system or something. So just having a basic information, if we can have some kind of you know, reference that they are associated with the Ethereum community. Like, I mean, if we get this information, like how long have you been associated to it, and this might add value. But if people think that this is not, I mean, this is a very small questionnaire, 5 to 6 questions asking basic information. And yeah, I'm open to discussion and, you know, changing the questions if required.
As in your primary.
Well, my 1 year anniversary. So I was just gonna say, woohoo, I'm not a newbie anymore.
I mean, it sounds to me like your chief concern is whether people, if there's like a very easy entry process, maybe like a group of people could come in en masse and sort of make issues. Is
Right.
that like so I'm not sure how much we need to worry about that at this phase. I mean, let's talk about the worst case scenario. All of a sudden, like, you know, 100 like brigaders from who knows what come in, and then they decide that they're really the cat herders and they want to throw us all out. I'm not like, what would happen then, sort of? Like, I don't know how much damage they could do. I mean, if some guy decides that they're going to try and subvert the note-taking process and they take like really bad notes, so then we won't pay them and someone else will take the notes. I mean, like, how much damage can undesired participants actually cause us?
Yeah, I agree to that part. Like, note takers, if they are not making good progress, if they are not responding on time or something, we might think of, you know, kind of talking to the people and might be, you know, replacing it with somebody else. But, you know, sometimes, like, I have witnessed it personally. That's why I'm just mentioning it. Like, once in a community call by one of the, you know, kind of working group, what happened is, like, people joined in, they had some issues. They generally do not allow people to join in. They had some issues they were discussing, and somebody was throwing randomly something on the Zoom call, all kind of, you know, nuisance creating. And that was nothing. But I understand that it may not be that much applicable for the cat herders. So if we are fine by just removing this one question, association with Ethereum community, I'm okay with it. I have no like hard and fast thing, so I'm okay.
I mean, I'm interested in everybody else's opinion also. I definitely don't mean to pick at it. The truth is, when you were saying that, it made me think someone might be able to use it as a vector to get into the all core devs call and make trouble there, which is interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I would have thought, though I'm interested in other people's opinion, that maybe we should experiment with making it a very easy process, really not needing anything more than a name or a pseudonym and what they're interested in contributing. And if we see there's a problem, to then maybe raise the bar to entry. Normally, I'd be nervous to say that because usually once you've opened the gates, it's harder to close them. But with a decentralized group like this, I mean, unless anybody else can really think of scenarios, I would think it's actually sort of easier to scale back. I mean, the multi-sig is it's very detailed who has access to the funds. So that's not really something that would be very easy to subvert. And any other process that's happening really seems to be able to assemble around the legitimate, I don't know what word to use, participants. So I would personally think of toying with a very low bar to entry and then maybe ramping it up if we need it. But I'm really just, I'm like just speaking off the top of my head. I'm interested in everyone else's opinions also. If you are familiar with cases where undesirable participants really started overrunning a system. I totally understand where you're coming from, and I have nothing against the form as it is now. But if especially we're looking to recruit, my first thought would be like, you know, maybe make it easy. But again, not a strong opinion.
So basically, it sounds like we're considering two options. The main goal is we want to have some kind of tracking system so we can keep track of who considers themselves a cat herder. And there's two ways. One is we could have something like a Google Sheet where we would keep that. The other one is you're talking about someone maintaining something on the website where it lists people like that, and people could join through that website. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm not sure what you meant, Edson, but me personally, I would have thought even that we wouldn't necessarily need to maintain a list on the website, just more of a portal. If you're interested in contributing, click here. If you're interested in note-taking, click here, and just funneling people into the right areas.
But when they click on that, though, what would that do? I guess that's my question.
I'll admit I hadn't fully worked that out yet. The one thing I was thinking is note-taking probably would enable them to get in touch with Pooja in some way or another. That was the only thing I had clearly thought of. I had not thought anything past that.
Yeah, so in other words, someone would have to set up a web page with a form on it, and they would have to wire that web page to a submit API that when they submitted that, it would email to Pooja or something like that?
I mean, you wouldn't really need an API for that. You can just put in a mail to tag, but yeah.
Right.
So the idea with the form is basically that only. I mean, I was thinking about providing this link on the Cat Herders websites, requesting like people interested may fill up this form. As soon as they fill up the form, the information will be reached to us, and we may get in touch with those people. Like, you know, I mean, because in this form, the primary questions that we are asking is like email address, name, their contact info, because they might want to include in some Getter or Telegram ID. So I'm asking for either of those. Yeah, association with Ethereum community, just to get to know like he is, you know, kind of known person. If he is interested to share this project, like to which project, client, or working group they are mentioned, please do mention. If they don't, I'm gonna make it optional. Yeah. And other question is like, how did you hear about the Cat Herders? I put this question specifically because we would want to understand like what are the areas we are able to capture. Like we have been spreading word around blockchain meetups. We have recently put up the Stack Exchange ad and the Medium, Twitter, Reddit. Like what is the general form of information for them? I think that's going to helpful in future. And the questions are like, which subgroup you are interested in joining? That would give us their interest, and we might want to link him accordingly. So these are just generic questions, and a link to the form on the website is my proposal.
So again, once someone does provide all this information, are we going to keep that information in a spreadsheet, or are we going to have a database somewhere? Or
yeah, we can create a database for that. Like if people would be interested and sharing their contact info is not a concern, we can keep it on the Ethereum Cat Herder GitHub itself. But if sharing contact info is like if something that people would not want to make it a public available thing, then we might want to just list the present cat herders and keep this information with us within kind of protected shared spreadsheet, the Google spreadsheet. We can share that among internally.
Tim brought up Aragon DAO. Apparently we have an Aragon DAO. Would that be for onboarding, or would it be for moderating people who are new members?
I'm not really, I mean, how would we be able to use an Aragon DAO to help with this?
Sometimes back when we started, like we were very, very few members. So whenever the onboarding was there, we kind of allocated herd tokens to people who joined in or are contributing as a cat herder. And
I don't think I ever got any.
Yeah, this is actually the first time I'm hearing about that.
Yeah, I have like we kind of have a voting system with that. So like people having herd tokens are eligible to vote, but I'm not sure if this is being pursued or we would want to. I mean,
Have we ever had a herd token vote? I mean,
yes,
we did.
yeah,
I
for
think I
like
remember that.
yeah, for Tim adding to the multisig, I guess there was a herd token vote, and we did it for like few times in the past.
How do I get herd tokens?
I think I may have to get more information on that with earlier Charles and Brett. They were helping us with that, so I may have to get back with getting more information on that. But Tim, do you have anything specific in mind, like how this can be helpful on the onboarding process?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can now.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm not sure it helps with onboarding, but I think maybe it helps with just identifying people like, yeah, it's a good way to just track it that they use Ethereum and, but I don't have like a super strong opinion for it. I just wanted to mention it was already there.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so do we want to get back to this onboarding sheet next week, or is it something that we can like kind of start working with it and maybe discuss the herd token in the next meeting? I will get back with more information on that, and we might want to check.
Where would you implement the form? You have the ability to implement the form on the website?
Website is one place. Other than that, was thinking of sharing this information with the Medium newsletter that we do. There is a good news I would want to share. Like we have been listed as one of the people spreading news about Ethereum Cat Herders. Like it's listed in ETHUB every week. So I'm assuming that we may be getting more traction. We may be getting more readers. So that may be another place where we should place this link. People interested should be reading the newsletter and they get the onboarding form as well.
I'd say go for it. Try it out. See what happens. Personally.
Yeah, we are all experimenting. This is something like we are trying to do with a decentralized project community. So it's worth experimenting. Do people have a strong opinion against it? Stopping it from the website right now, or? Okay, in that case, I'm going to leave this form open for another week. I have shared the link for the document of it. If people come up with some different question or maybe would want to reframe something, please feel free to add it as a comment. And by next week, we will try to finalize the form and then we'll put it on the Ethereum Cat Herder websites. Moving on, the next item is promotion and positioning, placing community promotion ads at Ethereum Stack Exchange. William, Edson, do you guys have any update on that or maybe anything you would like to share?
The ad was submitted. It needs 5 upvotes, I think, to actually be used in the rotation of ads. But there seems to be a lack of people who have you have to have a certain amount of reputation to vote on Meta, apparently. So, it's about, at this point, it's about getting the upvotes for that, but it's there, it's in place. And the second it has the upvotes, it'll be in the rotation.
How many votes do we have right now on that?
So we have 2 votes, but we need 6. So we need 4 more votes.
And where is this on Meta? Did you say? I'm not familiar with that.
Stack Exchange. I'll try and post a link, unless you've got it right now, Edson.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll look into that and see if I can.
Thank you, everyone. The next item is Cat Herders funding, Moloch and ESP. So we have been trying to get in touch with both of the organization. We submitted the request at Moloch, and I guess we are still in communication with ESP team, but we haven't heard anything concrete as of now. So I think at this point of time, I have only updated that we have submitted the form for Moloch recently, and we'll wait for them to, kind of put this thing into voting by the members of Moloch, and then we may have some kind of update to share. The next item is Berlin upgrade. Last week, I shared a post on Reddit inviting questions on YOLO version 1 testnet. The reason behind this was like I received some kind of communication from press and other people that what is this YOLO all about? The confusion around was like, if it is a testnet for Berlin upgrade, are we going into Berlin, and the EIPs selected for YOLO is for Berlin, basically. I was hoping to, kind of collect some more questions on that and come up with, something, maybe a community call or maybe a post or something on that. Do people have any thoughts and opinion on it? Based on the questions that I had received earlier, I kind of created this document and was thinking of, I hope it is accessible. Let me check yeah, it is. Are you guys able to access the document and see it? So this.
Yeah, I can see it.
Thank you. This basically talks about what YOLO is, general information, and what is the meta ETH of YOLO. What is the version 1, the selection of protocols for version 1, client status, who has agreed, client who have already signaled that they would be going into it, and some of the FAQ kind of thing, like if it is a testnet for, it is a new testnet for Ethereum upgrade, some kind of, basic question. So I would welcome feedback on this, or is it something that we might want to consider sharing through Medium, the Cat Herders Medium, or I'm open to opinion here.
I think Medium's good for this under the Cat Herders name.
So if people can come up with some, if people hear some different kind of questions and would want to add it, I think would be good to have. Like the basic purpose of Cat Herders is kind of, bridge the community gap, the gap between the community and the developers. We do not want people to be in confusion state of mind. Like for example, when we are sharing something and that is picked up wrong with another level of, kind of people who are sharing information around, like news people or media people. So that might create a lot of confusion around. So my idea was like, if we can, the Cat Herders can come up with this kind of small posts clarifying different phases or the actions that developers are taking and why they are taking would be helpful.
I think so too. I think it'd be helpful.
I would welcome any kind of feedback and comment. I know, it may not be immediately possible, but any kind of feedback or comment would be super helpful for this. And then we may plan like looking into a couple of days if it is good to publish, or maybe after the all coda meeting, what is the general consensus on like timeline? When it would be good? Should we wait for another all coda meetings and then publish it on next Monday, or what do you people think?
There's a meeting this Friday?
Right.
I think Monday's a good target. Well, what's everyone else think?
Yeah.
Cool. Then we look forward to it. Thank you, William, for adding some of the suggestions. And feel free to add comments into it, and we might want to publish it by next Monday. Moving on to the next item is EIP meeting. We have been receiving good interaction with people here. Recently, we have received a few questions regarding the EIP process that is under discussion. I have added all of them to the agenda and we welcome people to join the EIPAP meeting. More on that, Edson has recently shared his blog post. Edson, would you like to add more on it, on your blog post that you have shared recently?
Yeah, that was great.
I can pull it up and put it in chat, but it was a summary of the results from the survey organized into a roadmap that we could use for future meetings.
Yeah, I think it's a good summary, and we might want to use it, like kind of a prioritization of issues that we would want to discuss in this kind of meeting.
Yeah, I try to make it simple, easy to understand. I think it achieves that.
I agree. It's a good one. Thank you, Edson, for writing that up for us. The next item is 1559 design bounty. In the last meeting, we discussed that first we should focus on the hackathon, like kind of getting information on what are the hackathons available, and then we might want to proceed with rest of the things. So recently we get information about the ETH Online that is planned in October 2020. So I got in discussion with the ETH Global team, checking if it is something that they would want to consider for their hackathon. But I am not sure of the timeline. Like, do we have an estimate of the timeline when exactly we would want to kind of organize this design bounty? If I may, like this question may be directed to Tim.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, like I was wondering.
Oh, the design bounty. Yeah. So I just posted in Moloch today. I think we'll probably wait a couple weeks there because Moloch wants to limit the number of like pitches every 2 weeks. And I think like now we have the MetaMask designs. So we'll probably have like another good conversation about the EIP in like 2-3 weeks. And I think after that, we'll probably know better what we want to do. Yeah.
So are we still looking for hackathon? Because I got in touch with the Gitcoin team as well, and they mentioned that they would be having a hack every month, like they are organizing something or the other every month. So do we still need?
Yeah, we would. Yeah. If you have like the list of things they're organizing, that would be really good.
Actually, I was pointed towards, one of the member of Gitcoin, Scott again. So Kevin got me in touch with him, and like we were wondering like how to take it forward. So I'll get in touch with you offline, and we'll get more details on it, and we'll get in touch with the Gitcoin team if we would want to consider that. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, moving on. The next item is meeting notes. Few things I wanted to mention here. Number one was like, we are still not compliant. We are still not able to 100% comply on like, the timeline that we mentioned. I know many of us are doing, but we might want to look into the field where we are not able to reach the 100% compliance. Unfortunately, the all core dev meeting notes is still not submitted. So anyone want to volunteer to take it up and finish it up before the all core dev meeting? I think me and or Edson only. There are 2 people because Brent has opted out for a while, and I'm not sure. Brent, would you want to fill up, or Edson, would you want to take it up? And if not, we can open it for public for this time maybe.
All core devs is when again?
Friday.
Yeah, what time though? UTC?
1400.
Yeah, that's like a super hard time for me.
Yeah, and I'm just not, takes me forever to get anything done with an all core devs call. And I don't do good notes for those.
They were working once on having like a rotating schedule of times. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, that is, but unfortunately we do not have much of note takers, and that's the reason, that's more of a reason why I'm like so much in rush of getting more people onboarded. We want more
So
people in here.
wait, so what's the range of times though? Because on times where it's earlier on Friday, I might be able to, but something like 2 o'clock UTC is way too late for me. If it's something significantly earlier, I might be able to handle it. So if there is a different time that's earlier in the rotation, I might
There
be able to
isn't
pull it.
anymore. We tried the different times, but because people would just like not show up, because they kind of forgot. Yeah. Sorry about that.
William, these are for notes that are already have a recording. So these are just getting the notes before the next meeting.
Oh, so you're
Someone's already
saying I can
signed up
just,
for the next one.
you're saying I can actually just use the recording and try and write notes off of that.
Correct. So if you wanted to do it, you definitely can. The challenge is just getting it done before Friday.
Before the next Fridays, and I have roughly a 7-day window.
Here's the thing, like it was assigned to somebody, but that person did not show up. Like he mentioned that he would be taking it, but unfortunately he could not show up. So the timeline is like almost past. It was.
Oh, you're saying, okay, I must have missed a few details there. You're saying that there's still no notes written for the last meeting and someone needs to try and get it together for this one.
Correct.
As in for the last meeting before the next one starts.
Right.
If anyone else wants to take it, that's fine. But maybe I'll try and be in touch with you, Pooja, and maybe I'll see if I'm able to try and pull through on it. Like, I just want to try and get a feel for what I'm going to need to have to do. If you find anyone else, like, don't feel any obligation to me.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, William, for that. I will try to get. I mean, like, of course, they have to get it done. We will get it done and do it. Yeah, thank you so much. I can guide you on like what are the process or how do we want to get it. I mean, like presented on that. And on the same note, like I have opened an issue on the Ethereum 2.0 for some of the bounties that was missed or something like that. So if other people is facing any kind of challenges, please feel free to create an issue. Although I think personally that GitHub issue is not the right place for I mean funding related issues to be added. It could be used for more technical issues, but as of now I am not sure if we know any other place to list it, but I think it would be good to kind of work on it and try to streamline the process. I have been trying to do that for a while. Moving on, the next agenda item is like discuss and close the ECH GitHub issues on PM and the funding. So there were some issues that was open by, it was open for a while. I'm referring to issue number 102, 103, and 104. I talked to James and he had added new comments, like he would want to keep it open for some more time. And he had added comments to all of the issues. The 102 is update necessary documentation from the Besu hotfix. So like he mentioned that it is related to yellow paper and maybe the specification wasn't clear enough. Is it something that Tim, you may be able to help us with? Or maybe pass it on to the Besu team? I'm gonna share this link in the chat. So if people would want to give it a look, and if they think that we should, somebody would volunteer to pass it on to the Besu team, that would be super helpful. The next open issue is add an option to Ether nodes that accounts for in progress. For Muir Glacier as well as for Istanbul, what we witnessed was there were some kind of stakeholders that they have not upgraded their nodes, and that's why it was not reflected in the Ether nodes directly. So we were showing kind of low in compliance that nodes are ready for upgrade. So we, the idea here was to request or to reach out to the Ethernode people, saying that if they could also open for in-process, for the groups that we know that they are working on it. For example, like say for example, Binance, they did not upgrade it completely, but they said that they are going to do that. So if we put them into in progress, that would not show our compliance like very, very low. We would want like most of the people should be ready by the time of upgrade, so that it should be very smooth upgrade, and the chances of fork should be minimized. So that's the idea here. He has added as a comment that it is still an open action item, and if cat herders would like to volunteer and reach out to those people, that would be helpful. And the last one is update fork 1 on and publish code properly. So a fork 1 is used to, kind of showing the status. So I mean, last time for the Muir Glacier upgrade, it was not updated. We might have to reach out to, I'm not sure, maybe Martin, I'm not sure of that, to, kind of update it. So if anybody knows who is running this or may be able to reach out to that, feel free to add comment or, volunteer for that. So these were the issues that we have been seeing for open for a while. And there are some open issues from the funding section. We can ask Tim Hudson to, kind of look into that. But one thing that came up was, updating the sheet, the Google sheet, the spreadsheet that we were maintaining to, list what amount has been paid towards what action to whom. That spreadsheet has not been updated for a while. Edson has opened an issue, number 44, saying that this spreadsheet should be updated. Would it be helpful to, kind of add more people to the spreadsheet? I'm not sure who has the access to it at this point of time. Earlier Lynn has created sheet, but we may have to get in touch with him because I'm not sure of who else has it. So I will try to get in touch with Lynn to know more about this sheet, and we'll try to close this open issue as soon as possible. And Tim, if I may request, like look into rest of the open issues and the funding could be paid for that. The next item is review the outstanding action item from previous ECH meeting. So there were two decisions made, kind of decisions, that means agreement. One was explore more for the selection of the email provider. We did some kind of work in that, and we are planning to move ahead with the free account of Zoho. And the next was a wait for, Angela for the next update on Substack mailing, but unfortunately we did not hear back. So we'll wait for some more time. Next action item is Hudson will start paying out some of the older requests in the funding Cat Herder repository. And we have seen some of the old payments have been paid out, but there are a few more to go. We'll reach out to Hudson to let him know about it. Edson will create another blog on EIP survey to share the final results and learnings. This has been completed. It can be marked as closed. ECH may be involved for notes of EIP 1559 implementing meeting. Tim will let the group know about it. Tim, do you have any update on that?
The 1559 meeting?
All right.
Yeah, so the next one will be in a couple of weeks. Yeah, there's nothing scheduled yet though.
Do you want the Cat Herders to be involved with that?
So last time, Griffith from the EF did the notes and that seemed to work. So if, yeah, I don't think it's necessary, especially if like
clearly there's maybe like too many things to take notes for. So yeah, I unless like Griffith is not able, I think we should be good.
That's good to know. Let us know if in case like if there is some need or something like that, like, you know, if he is unavailable or something. So we may schedule somebody from there. The last item was Hudson will contact people on Moloch to unhold the account, the post. It has been done. Now the post is active and we are waiting on Moloch's team to provide us more update on that. So that's all about it. The last item is any other business. Do people have any other business to discuss? Yeah, so I think I'm good with, like, you know, I'm done with all the items mentioned here. And yeah, we are a little early. That's good. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining. And yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, yeah, thanks, everyone.
We have next meeting in 2 weeks from now. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, Pooja. Hey.
Yeah, thanks, Pooja.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.